Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're replacing the alternator down here on this 2011 Toyota Corolla. This is a car I worked on a good amount on my channel, so if you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to subscribe. I just picked up this new alternator here from AutoZone. Here's the part number, in case you were wondering. These are the Duralast alternators, what they sell there. And they say they have a lifetime warranty, so if it ever goes bad, you can take it out, bring it in, swap it out, or get a refund, save the receipt. And supposedly they save your stuff in the computer if you give them your phone number there. So basically I got home from a trip, the car wouldn't start. I tested the alternator. Basically the battery, when you put a volt temperature on it, it reads like around 12.5 volts. When you turn the car on, that voltage is supposed to go up to 14.2, between 14.2, 14.7. My voltage would actually go down when I turn the car on. So that means that the alternator probably isn't charging the battery from what I can tell with my online research. So let's get into replacing this alternator here. I'm gonna put you guys on a stand here for a second. We'll get this cover off here. Start working on getting this alternator installed, or get the old alternator out. So first thing you want to do is disconnect the negative terminal of your battery. I believe is a 10 millimeter. Let's see if I am correct. Let's see what that is actually. Yep, that was the 8 millimeter. Let's try the 10. So yeah, with the 10 millimeter, go ahead and just disconnect this negative terminal. See if we can get it off here. I'm gonna go ahead and put some gloves on. For just 1 second. But yeah, just a simple multimeter. I'll show you guys what I was using. This one from Harbor Freight. And you just set it to 20 volts DCV. Turn it on, you can test your battery. See if it's holding a charge. If you test your battery and it's not holding a charge, then like if it's below 12.5 volts, then it could just be your battery causing you problems, or you could be having, two problems. Your battery's going bad and your alternator isn't charging it. So let's see here. Let's find that. See if I can get the battery terminal off. There we go. We're just going to rest this over here. Then we're going to take off the cover. There we go. And then we can see the alternator right here. So now's a good time. We're gonna loosen this tensioner bolt right there. You can see, I'll see if I can zoom you guys in a little bit. There we go. This tensioner right here, we're gonna loosen that up. Before we do that, we're gonna mark it with a marker so we know where to tighten it back up to. Get a marker here, Sharpie. And we know, yeah, right there. Now we'll know where to get it tightened back up to. That takes a 12 millimeter. We'll loosen up this 12 millimeter bolt here. And won't be using any power tools on this one, but those will obviously make it a little bit faster. or a lot faster. This is a really long bolt, this tensioner bolt. And as you go back, it keeps putting tension on it so that it doesn't want to come out very easily. There you go. See if we can keep making some headway. And about 100 years later, this bolt will be out. We will be in business. Also glad I marked it. It makes it more obvious that I'm actually getting the bolt out here. Ah, still stuck in there. Keep working it. Let's see here. Still turns. Not as much as I want. May run out of room here in a minute if we run into this radiator cap. See if it turns easier now. So we're getting close. Haven't quite run out of room yet. I'm gonna pause you guys and get this out better. Okay, so I got that bolt out there. I did have to switch to this because I ran out of room on the back end. I'll place that up there. And there should be a side bolt. We go around the other side here. There's a bolt on the side here, which we should be able to remove when we go around. I believe this is another 12 millimeter. Yep, crack that loose. This whole piece will come off right here. This is what kind of holds this bracket at the appropriate spot. I'll loosen this up. Almost there. The longer bolt. There you go. So that's my whole bracket assembly that kind of holds that screw in there. And then there's another 14 millimeter over on this side. Let me see if I can get this broken here. Let's see, I'm not gonna be able to get it with this tool. So let me switch tools and I'll be right back. So I got the appropriate 12 millimeter. And we're gonna break this bolt here. We just need to loosen it, we don't need to take that all the way out. So then you can just, if you want this bracket to stay up so it's not in the way, lift it up, and then just tighten this bolt back down, or you probably just snug it down with your fingers. That's what I'll do here. And then that bracket is out of your way. And then we should only have one more bolt, which I believe is a 14 millimeter bolt. Just down here, basically as you go down here, there's two bolts. The top bolt is a 14 millimeter that attaches to this alternator. So let me switch out to a different socket. And hopefully we will have this out shortly. Before I do that, I'm of course skipping a step. Gotta remove these two connectors. So this gray connector here, probably pop off with this. Pick here, not coming off. Let me see if I can get it without breaking it. This connector's on there pretty good. I'm gonna work on this connector for a second here and get back with you guys. All right, so with a little bit of effort and a pick, I was able to get this gray cap off. Usually, I think from more of this, where the circle of the cap starts, use a pick on the kind of the top portion there. It'll come off. That reveals this 10mm nut. And then this connector, there's just one squeeze point, and you very gently wiggle it off because you don't want to break any of those wires. And now we can get, I already broke this nut loose, but again, it's a 10mm nut. Real small, don't drop it. If you do, probably not a big deal. You'll be able to find it. And put that up here safely. Take off this connector. That's off. There's also a small kind of clip down here where this connector kind of clips in. Yeah, I see it. Kind of wiggle it around. I think it comes off there nicely. See if I can get it off there. Looks like this alternator also has a screw there. Let me look. Yep. Yeah, there's another screw down here. Let me get this. Let's see what. Oh, I forgot about this one. What millimeter this guy is. It also looks like my kind of housing is taped onto this bracket here. There it goes. Kind of break it loose. Okay. Let's see if this whole bracket comes off or not. So when I take out this alternator, not sure if you guys can see it or not. Let me take you off here. There's this little bracket that's attached onto there. This cable and hosing was taped onto it from the factory. So when I take this whole thing out, or maybe even before, just so it's easier to get out, I'll take out this bolt. And then down here, that top bolt there, basically there's two, you see that those two bolts, the top one's the one that you have to take out as well. And that'll get you right where you need to be getting this alternator out. So let me start working on that. I'll put on the 14mm. See if we can break loose this bottom bolt here. Let's see. Some of this wiring is in the way. Let me walk around. Make sure this is the right 14mm. Make sure this is the right bolt. Maybe a tad big, actually. Yeah, I don't think it's a 14mm. Let's try. 12mm. 12mm, too small. Let's try 13mm. Also too small. Let's try the 14 again. Maybe I just messed it up the first time. Oh yeah, it is a 14 millimeter. I was right the first time. Just was having a hard time getting it on there. So this AC kind of hose here, watch out for that. A real tight spot here, maybe the hardest bolt to get on this whole project. You may need to switch to a heavier duty wrench here. Let me get a different tool, guys. I will be back. All right, guys, as that villain, random guy, Back to the Future said, we need more power. So I got the breaker bar. We'll zoom back in here. And this should get this 14 millimeter out for me. Got a real mechanics tool, not a wimpy little wrench this time. Again, I guess it's not a power tool either, but we're getting close to the big time here. Let's see, there's the again, hard to get this seated. There it goes. That's torqued on there pretty good. So we'll have to remember that later when we're torquing this back up. All right, I'll see if we can switch back over. And then hopefully this will take off a lot of the tension. Again, this has been on there 13 years. This is a 13-year-old alternator. The original came with the 2011. It's 2024. And there you go. So this will start pulling the alternator forward now that we're taking the tension off this belt. See if I can do it by fingers now. Yeah, now it's just basically finger tight. Needs a little more help. See if I can get the belt off yet. Nope. There we go. So the belt comes right off. You can see it there, the belt came off. And now we'll just keep working on loosening up this bolt. And then we will wiggle this guy out of here. And let me take a break, guys. I'll be right. So I did end up grabbing an air tool, mini ratchet here. I was able to get the bolt out. So let's see if we can get this wiggled out here. Hopefully without too much effort. If I missed it, should probably missed a bolt or not. Okay. hardest part, I think. Getting this kind of wiggled out. Might grab a flathead screwdriver here so I give myself a little more leverage. So it looks like you gotta kind of pry this thing off of its housing just gently. It does not want to go. Okay. So basically, yeah, what I'm seeing when I look at the old one is that the screw, that bottom screw goes through here, and this is kind of where you just got to get it. Sitting on there for 13 years is probably a little bit corroded, so you just got to kind of break that up in between where that screw goes. And he definitely doesn't like it. Maybe prying up would help, actually. There you go, I think I got it a little bit there. It still does not want to come out. I grab a heavier duty pry bar here. Just do some light prying. Hopefully it's the right tool for the job. Maybe a little bit aggressive. There you go. There you go, heavy duty pry bar. We at least got it up a little bit. So now we just got to get it a little bit lower. Forward. We're getting a good amount of play now. Hopefully we can get it off this exhaust manifold here. It's a lot of work getting this thing out. There it goes. So we loosened it up. Let's see if we can snake her out. Hopefully we didn't break anything prying on it. I think we are good. Here is the old alternator. Let's give this thing a round of applause, guys. It lasted 13 years, 111,000 miles. This is that bracket I'm going to need to take off, and then I'll use some more electrical tape. Let's look at the space we took it out of. That's where it sits. You can see where I was prying with that pry bar. Looks like no damage to the engine block. You gotta be careful that you don't get on this wheel here and this belt. We're gonna have to make sure we just did a little bit more with that belt than I wanted to. So let me fix that, and then we'll start putting this thing back in. And this basically, this long 14mm bolt on the bottom is what holds it in. Excuse me, let's see here. We can get this in here. There you go, guys. That's all that's to it. Job is done. Just kidding, but we're not far off. Now we just gotta get this situated on the mount. Come around the other side. There we go. I think I'm on the mount there. We'll see if we can get this bolt in there. There's just enough clearance. To get this in. It should be lined up pretty good there. Let's go ahead. Let's see if our power tool, spare tool there, is good enough to get it snugged in there. There's my air compressor. All right, so we got it snugged up there. Don't want to tighten it all the way yet. You still want to be able to get it to move. It's on there. I'll snug it up a little bit more by hand. About my 14mm. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back with you guys. All right, so I'll snug that 14mm up a little bit more. Just by hand here. A little bit of play there. Basically, I think I just want to snug it up to where I don't have any more play. So there you go. I think I snugged it up too much there. Let me loosen it up. You do want this to be able to move back and forth until you put your tensioner on. How's that? It does not want to move any forward anymore. There you go. This should be good enough there. Let's see. Grab a few more things. Next, we're going to loosen up this tensioner and start putting some tension on it here with this longer bolt. So let me put you guys back on hold. All right, so loosen this bracket back up. Now we will get our, just get our little holder for this bracket that screws right into the alternator. If I remember correctly, this is a 12. You don't want to tighten this all the way either. What you do is just want to snuggle it up, or snug it up, not snuggle it up. So there's just enough play on there to get this thing tightened. There you go. Be sure we've got our belt on and that it didn't slip off any of the other parts, because now we're gonna go ahead and tighten this up. I'm going to snug up 12 millimeter, just a little bit more. It's the loosen position. There we go. Maybe I'll loosen it just a bit. Overdid it a little bit. There we go. Not, I guess there's still a lot of play there. Take a little bit off that. And then we get our long bolts here that we marked earlier. Maybe another good time to use a power tool or an air tool. Let's grab our handy dandy Harbor Freight air tool here. We should be able to tighten this up pretty quick. Right about there is where our mark was. Let me see if I need to, I think that was pretty good. This belt still has a lot, real loose there, so I'm going to go ahead and tighten it up a little bit more. Still a super loose belt here. Makes me wonder if it's on everything correctly, so let me check that. And I was able to get the belt tight enough. I had to max out the tensioner all the way, whereas before with the old alternator I only had to go to right here. So there's about 1.5 inches tighter than it had to be last time with this alternator. And that was pretty confusing. I actually put this alternator back in, and what I figured out was the tolerances here are a lot tighter on the one that is OEM, the original Toyota one. Like this one, when I put it on, it slides in really easy. It's really easy to get the screw on. When I put this one back in, it was real tight. I had to use a little bit of force and a rubber mallet to get it on, and then it was hard to get that screw in there again. So basically the alternator is just a little bit different than the OEM alternator. Again, for reference, here's the part numbers. That's the Duralast alternator I used. That's the belt that I used. With the original alternator, I used both the new belt and the old belt, and they both were the same disc, same size belt, so it tightened up the same way. And I used the new and the old belt with the old one as well, and again, same way. So it wasn't a problem with the belt. The belt was the correct size. I just ended up, this alternator is just a slightly different shape where it fits in there easier and it moves around a lot more, so you really have to tighten it in there all the way. If this belt ever starts to wear out, I guess I'll just have to get a new one rather than tighten it, or maybe find a smaller one. Let me know what you guys think if there's a different belt that I should be using. If I were you guys, I didn't have the time to do this, but I would just get the original OEM alternator. I wanted to get this car back up and running as fast as possible, so I just bought one from the local parts store. Couldn't find a Toyota one available. And then to make sure you have your alternator on correctly and running correctly and the belt's tight enough, basically you want to test your battery with a voltmeter. So as you can see, it's 12.84 volts. And then when I turn the car on, this will go up to 14. And then you'll know that you have the alternator on correctly. And then you can load test it by turning everything on. And that should only make it drop by a little bit, not by a lot. And then you'll know your alternator is working correctly. So I appreciate you guys watching. I hope that was helpful. If you got any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments below. If you got any suggestions as well, put those down there. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'll catch you all next time.